Your expectation of a position was up here, but then you had to start down here. So that
Right.
expectation management for the military, what should they expect when they're coming out? What's a reasonable expectation?
Um, I think you need to be a little bit humble. Understand that you do lack certain skills, but you're a fast learner. And companies promote way faster. Civilian companies, my experience is that they promote way faster than the Army. They don't have like a necessarily a structured tier where you have to accomplish these things. It can just like after a couple of months, like, you know what, you did great, you're promoted, you know.
Right.
And there's no requirement to hit some kind of schooling class date or anything like that. There's no time in service. It's just like, yeah, you're ready, let's do it. So it's okay to kind of come in below where you think you might want to be to get your foot in that door because you are going to excel far faster than anyone else in that organization at your peer group when you enter because you have that discipline, you have the drive, you've got skills that they're going to identify exist once you're there that other people just never had. They're not going to develop a leadership skill if they've never been responsible for anybody. You know,
Right.
they don't even know what that means, and you're just going to come in there and shine. So it's okay as long as you can budgetly live off of what they're paying
Right.
you. You know, do it.
That goes back
You
to
know?
planning, right? You know,
Yeah,
planning, right? Building that nest egg so that when you get out, you
yeah,
have time to survive that transition.
yes, yeah. That's a huge one. I if you're retiring, it's not quite so painful because you're going to have a pension the next month after you leave. It's not going to be as much, most likely, as what you were making the day before, but at least you know
Right.
there's something coming in. If you are coming out of just like 4 8 years of service, like my son did, he was very surprised. And
Really?
he's
Yeah.
like, at one point, because he was like, I'm going to move to this location where my girlfriend is, and blah. And it finally came down to that. Can I move into your place for a while? I was like, yes, but we are developing a plan to get you out of my place because
Right.
this is not where you belong. I love him, but you know, this is like, you know, he's 6 years removed from our household. He doesn't need to be moving back in. He needs to be, you know, taking care of himself as an adult. Um, so yeah, financial plan, I would say you probably need minimum of 3 months of survivable cash flow without an income.
Right.
Six would be preferred, but that's asking a lot. Also, if you're retiring and you're thinking, hey, I'm going to get my VA checked at the same time I get my pension, I wouldn't bank on it. There's programs where you can kind of get it to hit right away. I thought I was in one, but I hit in with COVID, and COVID just kind of crapped everything out.
Right.
And it took me a year before I saw a VA disability check from my retirement date. So I wouldn't rely on that as immediate income
No,
from a
yeah.
budgeting standpoint.
The
Also,
financial pieces. Go ahead. I'm good.
I was going to say another thing. If you're again on the retirement side of things, if you're thinking I'm going to buy a house wherever I move to, keep in mind that like a mortgage lender is going to be less inclined to sell you that house if you are out of income, you know, or you're just on your pension. That's one of the reasons why I said we bought the house a year before I retired. That was intentional. I wanted to be, because if you have more than 12 months on your record of sustainable service, then the bank doesn't really care. They're like, okay, you've got, you know, this time. And so it worked out for mortgage applications and approvals because as far as they were concerned, I was gainfully employed for the long
Right.
future. They will ask you what your ETS is. They know. So how they know to ask that question. So be cautious if you don't own the home. You might be renting for a while coming out.
And that's okay.
It's
You
fine.
know,
Oh, it's absolutely fine. Just, you know, it's expectations. You know,
right.
you think you're like, oh, I'm just going to move here and buy a house and get a job. It might not flow that way, and you need to be prepared for that double move.